soccer?
I'm a
Awesome.
very athletic player.
Oh, awesome. I love it. I love it. What other sports do you play? You played a couple.
On. Perfect.
Hi, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Kendra, and this is Daniel. Hello. I'm Kendra. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. Oh. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for having us, you guys. So if you don't know what Teen Esteem is, we actually go to middle schools and high schools, and we speak around the topic of like life and that you're writing a story for your life. The Lord is our author, so that's so beautiful. And like we can follow His guidance and His love and His protection, and it's just so amazing. What's really amazing about today is that we usually can't say all that. That like the Lord is writing our story. So pretty cool that we can share about that today. Um, well, I guess before we go a little bit further into it, let's introduce ourselves. So I'm Kendra, but Daniel, would you like to share
Yeah.
anything about you?
My name is Daniel, and as Kendra said, we were talking just a minute ago. We're like, this is so new and different for us because Teen Esteem is an organization that goes into schools and talks to students about life and choices. But we cannot have any affiliation with Jesus. And so when we were asked to come to your church today and talk to you guys, like, wow, we can freely talk about Jesus to you guys today while doing this presentation. And so it's been throwing us off where we have to be so careful to not, and having the freedom to today is so very cool. But I am Daniel. I am born and raised in the East Bay area. I've lived in Danville my entire life. And I grew up going to church my whole life. My mom has worked at a church since I was like 2 years old. She is the assistant to the senior pastor at her church. So I always felt like a pastor's kid growing up, where everyone at the church knew me and had eyes on me. And it was just this crazy thing of like, people would say like, "Are you Valerie's son?" And I'd say, "No, I am Daniel." And they're like, "Aren't you a Bigelow?" And I'd say, "Yes, that is my last name, but I did not want to be addressed as my mom's son." I'm like, I have a name, and I want to be called that. And so that was my experience growing up in church. I started going to youth group when I was in middle school, and it was after my 6th grade year in the summer. I went to a summer camp, and the pastor there, the speaker there, talked about, "Hey, who are my kids that grew up going to church?" And I raised my hand. And he said, said a couple of things, but he ended it with saying, "Do you want to make your faith in Jesus, your relationship with Jesus, your own, and not just your parents?" And the thing that really got me was, yeah, I don't want to be tied to my parents. It's my own. I wanted that separation from them. But it helped me understand that, wow, a relationship and a life with Jesus isn't dependent upon your parents. It is something that I get to make my own. And that was really where my relationship with Jesus took off, because I felt that uniqueness, that responsibility of my faith in Jesus is my own. My parents cannot make me a Christian. They can make me go to church with them, but they can't make me a Christian. And I understood, wow, because I have that decision in my life, I want to make that choice. I want to have a relationship with Jesus, and it is no longer my parents that choose it for me. And so that was something for me where it made it personal. That helped, that pastor, that speaker really helped me understand that my faith is personal to me. Um, and so that kind of leads us into starting our presentation, because we're going to talk about choices today. You have a lot of different choices throughout life. So before we truly start, we want you to know we're not here today to tell you what to do at all. We're not here to tell you what to do. How many of you love being told what to do? No one?
Hey, we got 2.
You sure?
They want to be told what to do. I saw
I get
2.
it. I get it. When I was in middle school, you told me to do something, I do the opposite, simply because you told me to do it. So I get it. If you're like me, I understand a lot. Even as an adult, I still sometimes do that. So, right? Right?
So we're not here to tell you what to do or what to think, but we're really here to help you to think. And if some of the stuff we talk about, it might not even pertain to you now or like maybe never in the future, but maybe it will. So it always helps to just listen up. And you never know, it might actually help a friend someday too. Some of the things we talk about are fun and goofy, and some
Yes.
stuff's more sensitive. Some stuff may be awkward, but we're here for it. Who's here for all of it? Yeah, or unless you leave.
That's right.
All right. So when we're talking about choices, we're talking about your story. So actually, Daniel, can you show me your
Yes.
wingspan right here? Okay. Ready? Oh my gosh. All right. Great. So let's say that right here is when you're born. Okay. And this is, we'll just call it like 100. We'll just say 100 over here. So just to put a number on it. Where are you at in middle school right now? Or if you're in high school, like, is it roughly, I don't know, right here? No, probably not. Is it like right here? Is it right like here? Okay, yeah. And it's like anywhere between 3 and 7 year span. So, like, let's just say middle school right now, probably like that amount of time, right? So sometimes in life, it can feel like some of the stresses, the pressures, the ways how to navigate through things you're feeling or going through, friendship stuff, relationship stuff, it can feel like everything, like we're hyper focused on it, and that's the only thing we can think about. But hopefully, this perspective shows you that you actually have so much time to figure things out, to figure out what you want to do, what you love to do, to figure out, to continue to grow with your relationship with the Lord and grow in Him. You just have so much time. Now, would you say that at the same time, the choices that you make in this really small period of time matter? Could the choices you make in this small amount of time impact all the rest of that? Totally. Yeah. So that's what we're here to really talk about is like choices and the power of your choices. Thank you. How are your shoulders doing?
It was a little tougher holding a microphone this time.
Yeah. So actually, there is a huge impact on your decision making.
Yeah.
And when do you like to make decisions, Daniel?
I think right as I wake up, the first thing I should do is make a decision.
Oh, okay. Bright and early. Okay.
Just kidding.
Not on
Just
roller
kidding.
coasters.
No. We're gonna design a roller coaster. Can you help us do that? I know, kind of crazy. We're switching gears real quick. Right in front of me. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. This is us starting out on a roller coaster. Here we are, hands in the air, ready to go. So boom, that's how we're starting. So with a raised hand, can someone tell me what our next move of this roller coaster is going to be? You're designing this, yeah. Go up or down. Okay, what's next? Okay, keep going. Too much? Come back out. Okay, what's
as
next?
creative as you want to.
How far up? All the way back up. We're going back up. A diagonal drop. What's next? Say it again. Like that?
Pretty good.
Pretty crazy. Yes. Do it again. What do you want me to draw?
I feel like you had a good idea. All right. What about a ring of fire?
I like the ring of fire. Okay, so we go there.
Anything else?
And then flames.
Taco stand?
Flip. Like we go off the track. Okay.
Fall into another cart? Just fall.
That's probably where we'll finish.
Okay.
Probably where we'll finish right about there. Okay, so.
Okay. So we jump the tracks here, right, Daniel?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where the jump is.
Cool.
That actually could have been where the Ring of Fire is too, but Fire is up there now.
Okay.
Okay, so how many of you look at this roller coaster and you're like, dang, that kind of looks a lot like my life? Anyone? Well, what if, let's think about it for a second. If you're in middle school, right, you're a young teenager, right? What might be going on inside your bodies that might make your life feel like this? Emotions, yeah, similar to that, more so like inside your body. Any ideas what's going on inside your body? The word starts with an H. H. You had your hand raised before I said it, so.
Over here?
Yes.
To the right? Huh?
Not heartbeat. I heard it somewhere here. Hormones.
Yes.
The hormones going on inside your body. So you said emotions. The hormones going on inside your body can make your emotions seem and your days feel like this, where you wake up, you're excited, you come downstairs, and you might have your favorite breakfast cereal just waiting there for you. Like you didn't even have to get it yourself this morning. But you realize you're already late for school, and so you have to go rush to get ready, and now you're in this hurry of a day, and you didn't even get to eat your cereal, and now it's all wet and soggy, and you kind of missed the window to have that cereal. And so now, your day's not off to a great start. And then, we're getting ready to gear up for school. You get to school, and you see your best friend, and you haven't seen them in like a week, and so you're so excited to see your best friend. You go to your first period class, you have a math test that you didn't know about, and that brings your day right back down. But you actually did really well on your math test, so your day's going back up. But then you realize a friend at school said some mean things about you, and so it kind of sends you in this spiral, but you resolve it, so you're back to a highlight of your day. And then you realize you forgot your lunch, and it's just this whole thing, and you're only at lunch. This is your whole day until lunchtime, and yet it goes on more. Like, how many of you can relate to that? Where sometimes your days, like, just constantly ups and downs, stuff going on. We got to get you eating breakfast.
And sometimes things might not even be happening that extreme in your day. And you're just like, why are my emotions all over the place? And we're just here to let you know that is normal. That is normal to feel like that. But when do you think a good time to make a decision is on this roller coaster of emotion? Yes. Everywhere. Okay. Is there another answer? Is it when you're feeling really, really great, like high off life? Oh my gosh, nothing can touch me. Or when you're feeling like really low, like life kind of sucks and my friends aren't treating me. And I don't know. I feel really lonely, what it might be. Where or somewhere else. Yes. What'd you say? Really low. Okay. Really high. Any other answers? Is there another area we can make this decision in? Decisions in our life in? What about somewhere like in the middle?
If I'm at the low point in my day, if I feel like I just failed my math test, or I always say if I'm at baseball practice and I just cannot hit the ball, you kind of got to be able to hit the ball if you're playing baseball, right? If I cannot hit the ball at baseball practice and I say I quit, even though baseball is my favorite sport, I go home, I tell my coach I quit, and then I realize 30 minutes later, like, what did I do? I love baseball. Today was a tough day, but I don't want to quit. If we make a decision at the low point of our day, it might be drastic, and it might be something we regret. But if I make a decision at the highlight of my day, and I say I can run through a wall because I'm Superman, also not maybe at the best time to make a decision if I think I'm unstoppable and I can do anything. Yeah, so somewhere in the middle, or even like when we're just coasting for a little bit in the middle, so you can be level-headed and you can see clearly. You're like, okay, I had the highlight of my day, I had the low light of my day, and I can see more clearly and make a more level-headed and educated decision.
Okay, I actually think they need a better demonstration of this, don't you?
We'll give you a story to help you make it, make more sense.
We're going to need one brave male volunteer. You look really ready to go. I feel like you were made for this. Okay. So come on up. Usually we have a chair here. Do these disconnect at all? Oh, perfect. That was easy.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry. Okay, come on over here. What is your name? Gabriel. Okay.
Okay, have a seat, Gabriel. So, you guys all know Gabriel, but I'm going to tell you some things you already know or don't know about him, okay? So, Gabriel, do you play any sports? What sports do you play?
Football.
Oh, yes. You play wiffle ball. So what you guys may not know about Gabriel is the best wiffle ball player in California. But all of California. Even better than just your class. So Gabriel is also incredibly smart. He does well in school without even having to try that hard. He is just gifted. He is also, like, everyone wants to be Gabriel's friend. He's one of the nicest guys around. Everyone is either wanting to be his friend or you're wanting to date Gabriel.
Oh.
It's either one of those for you, okay? So, but here's the thing, Gabriel, I'm going to tell you something. You might not know it. You have a girlfriend.
Did
Yes,
we
you do.
tell him he has to act?
Yeah, you got to act
Like,
with
you have
me.
to get
gotta-
in
you
touch
gotta
with
go
your
along with me.
feelings and act. Yeah, it
Yes,
gets
go
hot.
ahead.
Like, acting mode, it's like, whew.
It is. So,
Getting
here's the
hot
thing.
here.
Gabriel's girlfriend is also an incredible athlete, is incredibly smart, is everyone's friend. Sorry, right in your way. But their ego isn't this massive thing where they think they're the coolest person around. No, they're humble and they have all these incredible things about them, both of them. Your girlfriend is so much like an angel, so much so that her name is Angelica, right? So, this is where I need you to act with me, okay? It's Friday. You're getting ready for the weekend, okay? You love Fridays, right? And so if you have a girlfriend as cool as Angelica, what are you probably thinking you want to do during the weekend?
Play video games. Or hang out with it.
Or hang out with Angelica, he says. So here's the thing. You've got plans with Angelica. You guys are going to go get ice cream together, maybe see a movie. But your mom comes to you and says, hey, Gabriel, we're going to Tahoe this weekend. Do you have a cabin in Tahoe?
Huh? No.
Do you now?
Sure.
Yes, perfect. So you're going to this cabin in Tahoe, right? And you're excited because you're like, Mom, Angelica's going to come, right? She says, Gabriel, no, Angelica can't come. She's going to be with her family this weekend. So you're going, and how are you feeling when you hear that Angelica can't come to Tahoe with you?
Sad.
How sad? Like, show me sad.
When?
Right?
Big
So you're
wham,
bummed.
big
You're really sad that she can't come. So what are you thinking about all weekend while you're in Tahoe without her? Her, right? What is something you could do to show her that you're thinking about her?
Messages.
No, but I forgot to add. This is my bad. There's no Wi-Fi. There's no internet. So you can't talk to her. So is it winter or summer there?
Summer.
Okay, so picture this. You're there in summertime, and if you're thinking about her and you want to show her you're thinking about her, can you stand up for me real quick? So just pretend I'm there with you. So like we're probably like walking through a field picking flowers, like ready to go give Angelica this bouquet, right? Is that how you pick flowers? Well, you are in this story. Perfect. Okay, you can grab a seat. So you fast forward to Monday, right? Fast forward to Monday. You're back at school. Nah, but you don't hate Mondays when you get to see Angelica. You love those Mondays. So you're at school, you get there early, you've got your bouquet, you're waiting to see Angelica, right? You're like just so giddy with excitement, you can't wait to see her. Her mom's minivan pulls up, and you're just at the front of the school waiting to give her this bouquet, right? And her mom's minivan pulls up, and you're so excited, and you see that door swing wide open, and the doves fly out, and the sunshine goes, and you're like, she's here. It's so exciting. And she steps out, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go. You take that one step, but as you're about to, you're like, whoa. This other dude gets out of the minivan, and you're like, I don't know who that is. Who's that? And then he puts his arm around her. What are you feeling about that?
I don't know.
If you've the whole roller coaster, probably. If you've got strong feelings for Angelica, what are you probably feeling?
Angry.
You're angry, right? And then he gives her a really big hug goodbye, right? And you're like, that's it. You walk over, but here's the thing. This guy, he's like my size. He's not someone you want to mess with, right? You don't want to mess with him. No, pretend I'm taller, okay? You don't want to mess with this guy. But you walk up, you're so angry. How angry are you? Show me how mad you are. Perfect. That's the best. So you're so mad, you go over, you look at this guy in the eye, and what do? With all your rage, you punch him, right? But again, he's my size. So he grabs your fist. You weren't expecting that. He picks you up, and he throws you in a dumpster. And you wake up 2 days later to the sound of beep, beep, beep. Where are you? No, you're in the hospital. You're already there. It's 2 days later. You wake up in the hospital. You wake up in the hospital, and you open your eyes, and who do you see? Angelica. What are you feeling in this moment?
I have no idea.
You're confused, right? That's accurate. You're confused. And you look at her. What do you say to her?
Huh?
Huh?
Why are you here?
Why are you here? She goes, Gabriel, I'm wondering that same thing. I want to know why you punched my cousin. Didn't see that one coming. Give Gabriel a round of applause. You can have a seat, Gabriel. Thank you. So in that story, Gabriel, the first thing that happened when he saw this guy put his arm around her, what was he feeling? Anger, right? So he felt that emotion. He was angry. And then what happened next? He tried to punch him. That happens very quickly, right? So he felt, and then he did an action. We're missing something. What goes here? Say it again. So he was mad, but maybe in the process, what could go here? Gabriel could have thought. He could have think for a second. So he felt and he acted. How many of us would say that the decisions that we make the things that we do rather, when we just respond to our feelings are the best things we could do? Not many of us, right? The best times is when we actually think and make a decision and then carry that out. So I like to share, when I was in middle school, I have a brother that's 2 years older than me. And we fought like crazy, right? We fought like crazy. And I remember one day after school, he took my favorite stuffed animal from my room. I found out what it was. I could never remember what it was, and I asked my mom. He took my favorite stuffed animal from my room, and he does that just to mess with me because he loves doing that. And I was so sick and tired of my brother doing that. So I saw it was missing. I walk into his room, I say nothing, and I punch him in the face. One thing, he also had braces at the time, and so I just shredded my hand, and it was a horrible decision. Didn't think about that. But also, when I punched him in the face, one, he's older than me, he's bigger than me, and he's a second-degree black belt. So what do you think happened after I punched him? He beat me up big time. And was it potentially deserved if I just go in and I punch him and say nothing? Kind of, right? Maybe not the best solution, but I also provoked him quite a lot. And so we fought it out, and he kicked my butt, and afterwards, he's like, okay, I'm on the ground, bloody and crying. And he's like, what's the story? Why did you punch me? And I said, you took my favorite stuffed animal. And he's like, I did not do that. I did not do that. And I'm so angry, and I called for my mom. I said, Mom, Brian moved my stuffed animal. She's like, Daniel, I moved that last night. I was angry. Very similar story. It's almost like they created it after me. I did not think, I acted, and it did not go well for me. How many of us can relate to that, where we feel and we act and we do not think, and then we get a piece of information, like that being Angelica's cousin, and we're like, man, that changes a lot. I would have done a whole lot different things if I had that piece of information, right?
Yeah, and that's probably one of my favorite, greatest wisdoms that I've learned in my life is that it's okay to pause. It's okay to pause and take a breath, take a day, take a moment to just calm yourself down if you need to, and just think about it before you act. And this is like with friendship stuff, maybe other things like making decisions. Because, okay, so most of you are in middle school, right? Raise your hand if you're in middle school. Okay, some in elementary. Okay, anyone in high school? Okay, so a little bit of mix in here. So, and we all go to different schools, yeah? Okay, so sometimes there's going to be some negative choices in your schools that are going to be presented to you. And that's just because that's life. Like, some people make negative choices. So what type of negative choices could a middle schooler or high schooler make? Yes. Stay up late. Yeah, and maybe, staying up, not getting the right amount of sleep. Yeah. What's another negative choice? Yeah. So not applying yourself in school, not applying yourself to your best ability. What else? Bullying. Is anyone also on media, like social media or okay, or even YouTube? But yeah, so there can be cyberbullying on there too. Maybe TikTok. I know it's really mean. So that's a negative choice. What would be another negative choice possibly? What about when it comes to like substances? Drugs. I heard drugs. What's another one? Alcohol. Yeah. Underage drinking, cigarettes, vaping. Yes. Yeah, these are all really high risk choices that a student could make. What about when it comes to friends? Like, could there be a negative choice there? Oh, so that seems like a negative friend, yeah? So picking negative friends who are probably making or maybe making these high risk choices, that could be a negative choice. I know that when I was in high school, I hung out with people that were drinking at a young age and they were doing other things like partying and other things that I should not have gotten into. But unfortunately, I did at a really young age because of the friend group that I chose in high school. So it derailed me for quite a while. Yeah. Yes. So if you are associated maybe with some friend groups that are making negative choices, like you could start getting in trouble for those negative choices too. Absolutely. Okay. Are we missing anything else on here? What about, okay, I have a question. Is anxiety or depression, is that a choice? No, that's not a choice. What if there is someone experiencing that? What are some negative choices that we've unfortunately heard of that people can make? Yes. So you're talking about like a friend, yeah, who maybe is dealing with it and you're not helping. Yeah, absolutely. That a positive thing for you to do would be to, yeah, help that person talk to someone for them, like an adult, a trusted adult. And then you said something. What did you say back there? Yes. And unfortunately, we have to talk about this stuff because it's just we hear about it more. But suicide would be a negative choice. At Teen Esteem, can you write this out for me? Like we talk about how here's you and here's your goals and your dreams, and there's choices that we can make that could derail us. But no matter what, you can always get back on track. It doesn't matter how old you are, how far you've gone with this or that negative choice, you can always get back on track. This is the only time where you can't. So I hope that you go back to that wingspan that we talked about at the beginning with Daniel, and you know that there's so much else beyond what you're feeling right now if you ever do feel that. Um, Another negative choice might be self harm. So, self harm could be inflicting pain on yourself, maybe an eating disorder, um, maybe it can be cutting. Um, so, for me, I actually had an eating disorder for 6 years. And I've dealt with anxiety and depression a lot in my life. And so, unfortunately, I started going to negative things like that. That was one of them. And then alcohol was the other. And that really derailed me for a very long time in my life. And, now I'm back on track to where I see all my like more goals and dreams and, God's first in my life. But that wasn't always the case. I really had a hard time with that for a while. Um, and I just want to let anyone in here know, like, if you have felt anxiety and depression, that you're not alone. For me, anxiety would feel like I didn't, like I wanted to escape myself. And it was a lot of fear in me. It was fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown. Like, what is all this over here? I don't even know what I want to do with my life. And it freaked me out. And I just want you to know that there is so much more that's going to be filled into your heart and filled into your mind. Like the Lord is going to give you so much purpose in your life that that fear will go away of the unknown. If anyone in here feels that at all. At my darkest depression, I didn't want to die, but I didn't want to live. And I wanted to be just in this kind of ball of like nothingness. Like I just wanted my mind to turn off because it was thoughts of, why am I here? What's my purpose? What, I don't even know why I'm here. So I had zero zest for life. I didn't want to do anything. And that was the season in my life where the Lord really did show me, like, I am with you. And I turned to him and I turned to him in desperation. I said, Lord, like, I'm going to open up your word. I'm going to, like, you are my lifeline. Nothing else in the world is working. Nothing. So I guess I'm going to try you now. I'm going to try to look to you. And I got plugged into community. And I also read the word more than ever in my life, prayed more than ever in my life. And he was there. And I've been growing with him more and more ever since then. So he is there. And if you ever feel that, just know it does get better. He will fill in that gap of emptiness that anyone might feel in their hearts in here. What are some other positive things maybe that you could do when you're starting to feel kind of down like that, down that road? Maybe, or just what do you like to do that's life-giving? Yeah. Yeah. Video games. Yeah, exactly. Healthy amount of video games, something you enjoy. Sports, okay. Hmm? Sports. Yeah, sports, so an activity. What else? Does anyone like to journal in here at all? No, I know I didn't at your age either, but I do now. Yeah. Go hang out with your friends. Yeah. Ooh, and who has pets in here? Who likes to just, oh, I know, they're the best. Nice. I have a cat too. Yes, he is interesting. He's very fun. What else can we do? I love it. I love it. Um, what about like get outside, take a walk? Anyone? Take a run? What do you guys like to do? Yeah. I love that community service. Yes. And I have to add a note there that I think a huge factor in starting to feel really better in that season of my life was I started to volunteer at my church. And I got to a point where I was like, well, if I'm nothing to me right now, why don't I do something for someone else? And I can't tell anyone like how to walk through their own depression because I know that's your story, but I will say that that is something that really helped me for sure. Yeah, putting that like love and attention on other people. So good. Anyone else? Writing. Oh, yes, writing. Writing out feelings. Oh, don't we all love doing that? Writing out your feelings. Yes. Ooh, biking. Yeah. Who bikes in here? Anyone rollerblade in here? I rollerblade. Yeah, we're both rollerbladers. Sweet. Awesome. Okay. Ooh, well, what about the opposite of negative friends? Positive friends. Yeah. There's this saying that says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. So if your friends are doing some of these things, where might that lead you? Yeah, yeah. Like maybe a bad place, negative place. Yeah, yeah. It could lead you to hang out with more negative people. Yeah. Who are some other like positive influences that we could go to?
Um, you again, as we're used to saying, how many of you at school have a teacher that you really love and respect? You think is awesome. Teachers at schools usually they're there because they care about you, so there's someone you could go to. How many of you play sports? That same thing. That coach usually they care about you, so there's someone that you could go to. How many of you have an older sibling or a cousin or someone that you're like, this is my person that I go to talk to? That's awesome. Maybe for some of you, it's your parents. Maybe for some of you, you feel like your parents are who you can talk to. but some of you might not feel that. So I want to transition for a second, and there is a pastor who was a speaker at a camp who told a story. So I'm going to tell you the story that he shared. So he grew up as a missionary kid. So his parents were missionaries, and he would travel from country to country with them as they told other people about Jesus. And so he got really used to hotels. He has this fascination with hotels and different hotels. And as he's a youth pastor, he took his students, his youth group, to the Dominican Republic to do a mission trip, right? And he gets there and he's like, okay, he sees that this hotel it's very similar to the ones he's gone to in other countries in the United States. And the host there is giving them the tour, all this. At the end of her spiel of this is our hotel, she says, okay, well, but what you need to know about the Dominican Republic is in the past few years, they were going through civil wars. And I believe they're done now. But the host was telling this pastor that, hey, there's a field over here behind the hotel. You and your youth group can go play in if you want, but you need to know that there's landmines out there. There's landmines out in the field because of the civil wars. And so the youth pastor's like, whoa, what? Landmines is essentially like a bomb that is in the ground. So it's a military weapon in that sense. So if you step on it, it will explode. And so what the pastor is hearing that, and he's like, you're just going to casually say, my youth group can go play there, but because their country is in war, it's almost, they're used to that aspect of it. They're aware of that. But this pastor bringing his youth group in is like, okay, if I'm going to love and care for my students, I got to do something, right? So in his story he's sharing, he goes, would I be loving my students if I was to say yeah, you can go play in the field and not tell them about it? No, that's not loving. I would not be loving and caring for them. So what he was saying is, he just said, for the sake of the story, he just said, no, we're not going to go over there. Do not go over there. But he's saying, okay, if I wanted my students to be able to do that, what could I do to protect them? He's saying, okay, I could walk around with a metal detector and find them and put a cone on them, okay? And tell my students, okay, you can go play, but do not go near the cones. Do not go near the cones. Now, remember, I talked at the beginning of, I like doing what people told me not to do, right? But this youth pastor is trying to care for his students and saying, don't go do that. Don't go over there. Now, you might not like to hear this, but that's also what God does with us. That's what our parents do with us. How many of you have a whole lot of rules in your household that you don't really want to follow? No way is this it. No way is this it, right? If we're honest, everyone can think of at least one rule we don't want to follow. But if you can take a second and make a mature decision that, okay, I know my parents love me. They don't have all their rules because they're out to get me. They want to love and protect me, right? They don't want you. It's not that they don't want you to have any fun ever. They want to love and protect you. Same thing with God. Where God says there are two ways you can walk in this world. You can walk with me and you can walk in the light. Or Proverbs 27:17 says there's a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. And so what he's saying is you can walk with me. You can walk in the light and all things that are of me. Or you can choose to rebel and live in the darkness and in sin and things that God is not in. And so back to our story, if the youth pastor, or you can pretend that your parent is in the youth pastor's spot, well, there's a lot of things in this world that are not good for us. We might think that they might appear to be the right path, but in the end, they lead to death. They lead us away from Jesus. He says he is the light of the world, right? It's not just the Bible has a lot of laws and what we would call rules. And if people don't know Christianity, they might think, okay, you Christians just follow a bunch of rules. Well, every child growing up follows rules that their parents give them, right? And most of the time, parents are not giving these rules just so you don't have any fun, but it's to love and protect you. So if there is a field with landmines in it, and someone says, great, go play, and says nothing, that is not loving, and that life will not be good for you. But so we see that illustration of, okay, when our parents give us rules, They're trying to love and care for us and guide us. Because if we think back to our roller coaster, with all the emotions and all the hormones you got going on inside your body and your mind and your heart, do you think that you're always in the best place to make a decision? No, and that's hard to say. Sometimes when we just had a huge day and how many of you sometimes tell your parents about your day and you forget to breathe, and so you're like, oh, I really, or have you ever cried and tried to tell a story and it sounds like I really wanted to, and like you forgot to breathe and you let out that breath, right? Sometimes when we're feeling those things, that's when we need our parent to help us see clearly and help us make a decision, or sometimes they make it for us. It's the same thing of what God does in our lives. The same thing of what God does in our lives is he puts things in place, just like our parents do, to help us stay away from things that are destructive to our life, that'll pull us away from Jesus. And so for me, going back to my story of being raised going to church, I grew up thinking like God just has a bunch of rules for me and I don't want to follow them. My parents have a bunch of rules for me and I don't want to follow them. But when I started to understand that my relationship with Jesus is my own, I saw the rules that he has for my life in a different way. And I started to understand that, wow, my heavenly Father is truly a father, and he is loving and guiding me just as my parents are throughout Scripture, throughout the Bible, his rules as we see them. And they're out of love. They're out of care for me and my life, so he can lead me to the right things in my life.
So good. So good. Okay, guys, we're gonna take a little break so that you can just like move your legs a little bit. So maybe a 5-minute break, and I don't know. Maybe there's still pizza out there. I don't know, but there is. Oh, sweet. Yeah, go get more pizza, and then we'll be back in 5.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so it's awesome. Yeah. I just started, uh, but I've known working for a long time. We talked about your church here. So I just thought it was so fun hearing about your church. Okay, we're gonna speak here. Oh wow, we talked about it all the time. Yeah, of course.
No problem.
Sometimes they get right, right. He's a different place. Right. Yeah. It's awesome. Just someone else told them, hey, let's I think we'll still oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. We'll just okay. So we'll do this. Yep. Right. It's I so I'm that's last and hey.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
So sweet. Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
I think we will take just 5 minutes. So can I call him back up right now? Okay. All right, we're gonna start in just 1 minute. Eat your pizza fast.
Yes. I love
You can make this I was gonna do all of that. All right, we're going to get going. Okay, so we actually need 3 volunteers. 3 volunteers again. Yes. Versus
Oh,
what?
yeah. I thought you were doing refusal skills. I was like,
Oh.
you're absolutely right.
Wait, I feel like half the people aren't here yet. Yes, you can. Here you go.
Go ask her. Grab a seat, guys. Go grab a seat.
Yeah, because that's my great grandmother's
Did you know
teacup.
the
It's
coach?
a family heirloom.
Did you just tell by looking?
All right, here they come. Okay. All right, we got 1, 2, and 3. Come on up. There you go. It matches your shirt. Okay, and then here you go. And face everybody right here. So come over here, face everyone that way, or this way, a little bit too. And I'm going to switch you two. You're going to be on this side. Okay, cool. So what is your name? Chris, what are you holding there, Chris? Display it for everybody. Here, come over here a little bit more. So, okay, it's a red cup. Okay, red Solo cup. And what's associated with it usually? Like, yeah, maybe beer parties. Yeah. Yeah. And like, how much do you think that cup costs? Well, yeah, it's pretty cheap. And actually, I got a pack of like 100 for like $5. So it's like cents. So super cheap, pretty worthless. What do you do with it when you're done, Chris? It's disposable. You throw it away. Okay. What is your name? Maria? Maria, what are you holding here? A mug. Yes, that is a mug from my house. So what do you drink out of that mug? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, coffee, tea, hot cocoa, milk. And then how much do you think that cost me? Okay. Yeah, not that much, but not as cheap as the red Solo cup. But yeah, maybe like it's of some worth. What do you do with it when you're done using it? Okay, where does it belong in your house? Okay, what else is in the cabinet? Like more mugs? Who has like a cabinet full of mugs? You don't even know what to do with all the mugs. They magically fit more though. Yeah, so it's kind of ordinary. Where are you going? Okay. So it's kind of ordinary, yeah? And then what do you do? Oh, let's say it was to break. Like it would just fall on the floor and break. Could you get another mug? Okay, yeah. So it's replaceable, yeah? Okay, what's your name? Belen. What are you holding? A teacup. And I don't know if you heard, but that is actually my great grandmother's teacup that she passed down in our family, the family heirloom, and it is the only one that we have in our family. So, what would you say you could just, how could you describe that cup with that said? The teacup. One of a kind. Memorable. Yeah, it's unique. And how much could anyone say, like, Kendra, I will pay you this amount of money for it to buy it off of me? Or is it no? Like, because it's priceless, right? It's one of a kind. Yeah. And if it were to break, could you get another teacup like that? Could I get another one? No, I could not get another teacup. So it's actually invaluable. Like you can't put a price on it. It's priceless. And it's unique and it's one of a kind and it is absolutely irreplaceable. All right, let's give our volunteers a hand. Thank you so much. Usually I'm used to having 2 hands, but like balance it. Well, not right now. I know that's the answer. Okay, so we are actually, do you want to present them actually? We are actually illustrating how people might feel about themselves. So we were not just like so pumped to talk about cups with you, but this is how people might view themselves. Maybe someone who views themselves as a red Solo cup, worthless, disposable, just no good, like, eh. Or someone who might feel like a mug, average, replaceable. They're just ordinary. They're another student and another in the pool of students, another person in the world of people, and they're just kind of ordinary. They're just average. There's nothing too special about them. And then someone who might feel like a teacup, irreplaceable. They know their life has value. They're invaluable, and they're irreplaceable, absolutely irreplaceable. So, what might you see from people who might feel? How do you know if someone feels like a red Solo cup? Yes. They could be sad, yeah. Maybe they're dealing with mental health stuff, yeah. They might feel stressed, yeah. And sometimes you can't see this. We can't see sometimes how people are feeling. Sometimes someone who might feel like a red Solo cup, that disposable worthlessness, could be the life of the party. And I know because I've been there. I've always been super outgoing, but there was a time in my life where I did feel like this. Why do you think someone would feel like that? Yeah. Mm. Yeah, they could be dealing with peer pressure and maybe giving into it. Is that kind of what you're saying? Or, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, and maybe an everyday average mug. That's a tongue twister. Maybe they might feel like they're not totally like disposable, but they're just kind of average. Like if they didn't show up for school, no one would really care. And maybe the teacup is, how would someone who maybe feels like a teacup, how would you know that they feel like that? Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah, they hold themselves to a higher standard. And again, something that you can't always see, most of the time their life will reflect that. But yeah, you're like holding yourself to a higher standard in your life. Here's the thing is that we are talking about how people might feel about themselves, people who might feel disposable and cheap, like the red Solo cup. People who might feel like they're just an average, everyday mug, just ordinary. But the reality is that everyone is a teacup. Everyone is invaluable. Everyone is irreplaceable. Your parents can't go into the cabinet and get another one of you. You're it. And this goes beyond, like, our value does not depend on what we do. Your grades, what you do for a living, anything in life, it doesn't depend on what you do. Your value just is. You are always invaluable. And you have more of a purpose on your life than you know. And it goes so, we're all so different and unique. And the Lord has a special plan for you. Like you can't even fathom it. You can't. Like it's just mind blowing and beautiful to be on this walk with Him in life. And it just keeps getting better and better when we walk with Him. Obviously, some things in our life can be hard, but He allows us to find beauty in Him and joy in Him through all of it. But if that is the truth, that we are all invaluable, we are all teacups, why do people feel like this stuff? Why would they feel like a mug? Why would they feel like a red Solo cup? Maybe they feel left out of their friend group. Maybe someone in their life is telling them that. Yeah. They're missing lack of love. Yeah, yeah. And maybe they're not feeling the love from people in their life. Absolutely. Maybe someone's told them that their words don't matter and that they're just worthless. And I hope that you surround yourself with people who are actually telling you that you are invaluable, that your life matters, and that your choices do matter. Because when we see ourselves as our life matters, most of the time we make choices reflecting that because we care. This teacup's delicate, it's fragile, it needs to be taken care of gently and washed, hand washed. So, we respect it. And that's exactly how hopefully you all and we will live our lives too, is treating ourselves and with respect and making our decisions really purposeful in life. Because you all are, again, writing an amazing story with your life that the Lord has written out for you. And it's going to be beautiful. I want you to think about how different we are. Your personality is different than anyone else's. Your abilities in your life, like you're going to realize what you're good at, what the things you enjoy doing. Your heart, what your heart really cares for. We all care about different things in life a little bit more than others, and that's for a reason. Like, you're supposed to care about that cause more than someone else because we're all supposed to be used that way. And then your experiences, like things you go through, you're going to be used to help other people someday too. So your story is going to be powerful. So, I want everyone look at your partner next to you and say, "You're a teacup. Ready? Go."
Can I add something real quick before we move on?
Do we have time? I don't know if we have time.
88. Are we right on track?
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Before we continue, you guys, these cups, their value doesn't come from what they do. They all do the same thing. They just allow you to bring liquid to your mouth. So their value comes from what they are. Your value comes from who you are, who Christ says you are. Right? Your value doesn't come from all the grades you achieve, all the sports achievements, the awards that you achieve. It's great to do well and succeed in those things, but it doesn't determine your value. God says how valuable you are. He tells us where our value comes from. He says that I love you no matter how well you do in these things. But he says, I will love and shepherd you and be there with you so you can do well in these things. And I'm with you the whole way. But our value does not come from what we do. It comes from who Jesus says we are, who Christ says we are. And some of you, just a perspective to help us not take things for granted. Some of you hear from your parents, I love you every single day. And so they're helping you understand your value is that you are loved. But there's people in this world, like my dad growing up, he only heard I love you a handful of times. A handful of times. And so I grew up hearing I love you every day of my life. But when I had conversations with my father, when I was talking with him about, some of the things in his life that made him who he is, he had shared that his father did not tell him that he loved him very much growing up. My dad said that he knew he did in his own ways, but he did not hear those words very often. So it's awesome when you hear that, and some of you might be like, Mom, I get it. Dad, I get it. You tell me every day. Don't take that for granted. That they're reminding you of who you are. You are loved, and your value is in who God made you to be. So we hope that you can see yourself in that image. I mean, that is a positive, Christ-like self-image. So we're gonna talk about positive image for this time. So we talked about negative choices, and then we talked about through positive choices as well. But what are things that influence how we see ourselves? Media. Oh, perfect, right there. Boom. I was like, wow, that was quick and easy. That was nice. So media. Real quick, is media good or bad? You said both. Okay, social media. What else? What other kinds of media? YouTube, Snapchat. What else? Raised hand, please. Yeah. Instagram, TikTok. You need to steal it. Twitter. Facebook. You use Facebook? I thought Facebook was for old people like me. You guys use Facebook? I use Facebook. Okay. What else are we missing? What do you guys want to do? Maybe when you're done with your homework, something you just want to hang. What's up? Well, we're just talking about media right now. We're not talking about specific YouTube channels. What is maybe something like, I don't know, you guys like to watch things? Netflix, all of those platforms, right? Perfect. There it is. Okay. I ask you again. Is media good or bad? How can media be used for good? Say that. Raise hand, please. Say it again. It entertains you. Entertainment, right? There's a healthy level of being entertained, right? Digital Bible. I love that. Yeah. Huh? I don't know what that is. You said Superbook? Oh, perfect. Got it. Love it. Yeah. Yeah, you can do homework. You might have to use certain things for homework. How can media be used negatively? Yeah, media is where cyberbullying happens. So that's absolutely a negative way to be using it. Yes, I would say that is negative. Right? Yeah, because it can be addicting. Watch scrolling on Instagram where you're just like, I'm bored. I'm going to go on Instagram. I'm bored. I'm going to go on Snapchat. Or how many of you watch Netflix? How many of you watch it and then Netflix judges you and says, are you still watching? You're like, don't judge me. Of course I'm still watching. Using it in moderation. A lot of these things can be used, we can keep in touch with our friends. It's sometimes a news source. But when we're glued to our phones and we're glued to these social medias and we cannot not look at them, that's when it can be used negatively.
Yeah, important to, think about how it's affecting your self-image, how you view yourself and your confidence. I take breaks all the time on media. Like I literally check in 1 week, and if I am on it I just am addicted to it and I can't stop like looking at my phone, I will take a break. That'll be a week or a month. It just depends. Maybe it's a day sometimes, but it really helps restart. Someone said addicting, that it could be addicting, right? So yeah, absolutely. It could totally be addicting. What makes something addicting? Yes. Yeah. You like it more and more. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So could it mean maybe that we're putting that first before other responsibilities? Yeah. Maybe like before other people in your life, like you're putting that thing first, and the things that were important to you maybe are now pushed off to the side, and now this thing's number one, and you're just like, maybe you want to stop, but you can't stop. So, yeah. And hey, just a side note here, what does media all want from us? Yeah. Money. Yeah. They want money. Does it make it all bad? No, not at all. But it's good to know the intent behind it, right? They're not like, oh man, I hope they get great sleep tonight and wake up really refreshed for their test tomorrow. No, they're like, oh my gosh, like let's keep them on as long as we can. So it's good to know the intention behind the industry. Now, there is another industry that we did not talk about up here, and I'm so surprised. I'm really surprised. By the way, this industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it is more of the awkward topic. And it does not surprise me if some of you in here have already seen it, because it's an industry that targets your age group. So, does anyone know what that is so far? Yeah. No? No. It starts with a P. Yep. What'd you say? Aw, she's at Pinterest. Nope. But it is. It rhymes with corn. No. Oh, we're going there. What? Who are these people? Yes, porn. So get the giggles out. Okay, so it's pornography industry. So they are targeting your age group. This is middle schoolers, high schoolers. Tell me why this industry would and by the way, pornography is explicit videos and photos of people doing things. And yeah, so why would they target your age group? Yeah. Well, they definitely want your money, that's for sure.
Sure.
Well, let me ask you this actually, going back to like, let's say video games. What's happening in your brain when you're like, you beat the next level or you do the thing in your game and you're like, yes, yes. What's happening in your brain? What's that called? Okay, yeah. So what's that chemical? Yes, it's dopamine. So you're training your neural pathways for joy and pleasure to these things. So it's a good thing. It's a reward system in your brain, but it's is it important that we go to the right things for that? Yeah, for sure. So this industry has the same neural pathways. So when you look at it, it actually can lead you more and more to rely on this thing and these images and these videos. But also, that's one reason why. But what else is going on in your body right now at your age? And we talked about it at the beginning. Yes, puberty. So you're hormonal and your hormones are changing. You're curious. And this industry knows that. And there's no shame if you have seen it or felt like you were even interested in watching it or you had seen it from a friend. Like, I don't want anyone in here feeling shameful about that at all. But hopefully what we tell you right now kind of changes your mind on watching it. Because the thing is it can be very addicting and it doesn't portray consent. It doesn't portray reality. So meaning it doesn't portray consent. The people in the videos or the photos, it might seem like they're okay with it, but they're not most of the time. It can be linked to human trafficking, sex trafficking, and it doesn't portray reality. So raise your hand if you want to maybe be in a relationship someday. Like maybe, who wants to keep the option open? Like, you want an option for your life to maybe be with someone long term, like marriage? No one? Some? I'm going to guess, yeah. I'm going to guess that most of you want to keep the option open at least. So this, I want you to think about how going to porn and might affect your relationships in the future. So in a relationship, it is all about love with this person and sacrifice with this person and, that intimacy with that person. But watching porn is all about you. It's all about me watching this. So when you think about it, how could that condition you to be in a healthy relationship? It probably wouldn't over time condition you to be in a healthy relationship when it's all about you for years or however long if you were to watch it. Unfortunately, I know marriages that have failed from it because someone is addicted to it. I know marriages that are really, really trying hard to stay together, and it's really hard to function in a normal relationship because of one person, having that addiction. So it's very, very addicting. Who knows Billie Eilish? Does anyone know Billie Eilish? Okay, we have a quote from her. She actually was so courageous, and she spoke out about her struggle with it. And this is what she has to say. She says, I think porn is a disgrace. I used to watch a lot of it, to be honest. I started watching it when I was like 11. That's the average age of exposure, by the way. The bad guy singer said, saying it helped her feel as if she were cool and one of the guys. I think it really destroyed my brain, and I feel incredibly devastated that I was exposed to so much porn. She added, saying she suffered nightmares because some of the content she watched was so violent and abusive. So the thing is what starts off as maybe an image that doesn't seem that crazy to you. But the more that you watch it, it actually gets more abusive. It gets darker, and all of a sudden, you're in this addiction that you never thought you would be in. It's just, I want you to think about like a drug addict who, they started maybe with one drug and they're like, oh, like it's just vaping or this or that. But then they needed that next high. So they needed a stronger drug, and then they needed a stronger one and then a stronger one. And so then they get in this, like, their addiction, and they're like, how did I end up doing this drug? I just started with that. And how do I get out of this? Like, I'm so far deep. And I just don't want any of you to ever feel like something has a hold on your life like that, because that is the same thing with this industry. An image doesn't cut it anymore. So you need something new. You need something different. You need something, and it gets more abusive and darker. So I just hope that you guys take that in, and the things that you're going to find that joy and that uh, interest, the things that make you happy in your life, that they're healthy, sustaining things, and things that really will produce the fruits of the spirit. So love, joy, peace, a sound mind, patience. Yes. Do you have another one? Kindness, self-control, faithfulness. Yes, yes. Okay. And then just touching on a couple more things, then we'll move on to another thing. But we're all about, could these things affect your story? So that definitely could. And also, here's another little awkward one, but could sending nude photos affect your story? Yes, because it's on your phone and now we can send things everywhere. So that is very, very risky. On top of that, is someone showing you respect if they're asking you for a nude photo? No. Are you showing yourself respect if you send one? No. If it's something you've already done, please don't feel any guilt and shame. Just surround yourself with those positive people and tell your parents, and you'll get through it. But, moving forward, think about these things. On top of that, it is illegal. So if you take a photo of yourself, it's creating child pornography. If you send it, it is distributing child pornography. So there's some legal ramifications of it too. Lastly, yeah, I think that's, yeah. That's about it on that. So that was a little bit of a lot of kind of heavier stuff, but hopefully it didn't feel too heavy. But reality check.
Yeah, I like reality check. Yeah, whether it's hard, whether you like it or not. These are the things that are a part of this world. So back when we were talking about the cones being in place for our life for a reason, these are some of the things that the cones are over, that our parents and God are saying, this is not good for your life. Sometimes, I know someone said earlier, anything that is addicting is fun. You have a point there where there's a reason, or too much of it has gotten to something where it's no longer fun. And you can't stop doing what you thought was fun, and it's no longer fun. So again, back to the cones. God and our parents are putting these cones in our life to help us so that we don't go, oh, this is fun. And then how many ever weeks or months later, you're no longer having fun, but you can no longer make that decision because you now have this addiction, or you feel like you just cannot stop doing something. That's why the cones are there. And so I know it's hard for us to remember that and actually be honest with ourselves that, yeah, the cones there are to help to prevent these things from me going too far down this road, or any road that we're talking
And another road that actually Casey, who we're going to watch a video on, he actually went down a road of vaping. He just started. He tried vaping in high school, and in middle school, he swore that he was never going to vape. If you don't know what vaping is, it is inhaling and exhaling fine aerosol particles and nicotine. So there's things called joules, different devices where you can smoke, and it's not a cigarette, but it definitely has nicotine in it, and it hasn't been around long enough to know which one's worse necessarily. So that is what Casey swore he would never do when he was in middle school. But then high school came around, and his friend just offered him a jewel, and he could have taken it or left it. Like, he didn't really care that much, but he tried it, and unfortunately, it led him down this path that he didn't really think he was going to go down. So I'll let you guys watch the video. Okay, so that was Casey, and Casey's actually the nephew of one of our speakers. So he got to a point where he was vaping, and then he's like, "Well, I'll try weed," and so he started smoking weed in high school, and it was actually because his mom got sick with cancer, and so he would tell you right now, he would tell you today that he used weed as a way of escaping it. And unfortunately, there were times where his mom would get better again, which is great, but then he would still smoke weed. So it really wasn't even about that anymore. So he had developed an addiction for that. It led him to drinking more, and then he got to a point where you could lay out a pile of prescription medications that weren't prescribed to him, and he would have taken any of them just because he wanted that next high so badly. And that is addiction for you. So I would never want any of you to ever be in that addiction because it just feels like a jail. It's very scary to be in, and there is healing in it. And I know because I've been there. There definitely is healing, and you absolutely can. But one thing we always ask is it worth the risk for you? Is it worth the risk to make that part of your story? And that's something that each of you will have to think about in middle school and high school, and you might be surrounded by people who are doing certain things, and in that case, maybe reevaluate your friends. Like I've had to reevaluate my friend groups so many times because I wanted to go this way, and they didn't want to go that way. Um, Casey talks about how it could be a gateway drug. Why would marijuana be a gateway drug? Like, what do you think he meant by that? Yeah. Yeah, so it's just opening that door to more, to hang out with the people that are doing it. Ooh, yes, wow, yeah, I actually hadn't heard that one. That's a good one. That like when you're in it and you're in that addiction that you never thought you would get into, it's like the door shut behind you and you can feel really trapped. Yeah, addiction sucks. Like I will tell you firsthand that I smoked and drank for years. I was a daily drinker for years. And there was a time where you would have said, Kendra, you can't have another drink of alcohol. And I would feel like there was no reason to live. Like I wouldn't know how to live. I wouldn't know how to have confidence or to function I needed that escape in my life. And thankfully the Lord was like, no, I want you to give this to me. And so I eventually started cutting out that and focusing more on the Lord filling that void in me. And man, he's greater than anything that we could ever think would make us feel better. So in one of those jewels, there's actually a pack's worth of nicotine. So a pack of cigarettes worth of nicotine. So it's really, really addictive. Casey's been able to stop the drinking, the prescription drugs that aren't prescribed to him, so abusing those, and marijuana. But he cannot stop vaping till this day. So that's how addicting it can be. Is it ever safe to take a prescription medication that is not prescribed to you? No, it is not. What are two reasons why? What's one reason? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it could have something in it. And unfortunately, we have heard more about fentanyl. Who's heard of fentanyl? Okay, so that is a synthetic opioid that is 50 times more powerful than heroin. Takes a very small dose in what looks like a prescription medication, and it is fatal. I know someone who has passed from it because what they thought was a Percocet, and it was not from their doctor. It was from a friend. It had fentanyl in it. And so unless you have a prescription medication from your doctor, it is never safe to take that medication. So this is actually Austin, and Austin took what he thought was a Percocet. And I don't know if you can see in the way back, but that's a penny, and there's a little speck of fentanyl on it. And that is the amount it takes to be fatal. And this is what Austin took. He took what he thought was a Percocet, and then his mother found him in his room, unfortunately, passed away. So it is very, very dangerous to take any prescription medication that is not prescribed to you. So we talk about all these like dangers of these things. Why would a student do these things then? Why? Yeah. Can you go a little bit more into that so I understand? Like, do you mean like escape or curious? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So she said maybe to like get rid of stress, maybe. And I will tell you firsthand, like I went to drinking and smoking for years to feel better, like make my anxiety better. It made it so much worse. So much worse. And then when I started going to healthier things, that made me feel better long term. Yes. Peer pressure, yes. Yeah. I mean, peer pressure isn't like, do it, do it. I'm going to throw you in the trash can. Or is it like that? So, who's been thrown in the trash can? Oh, no. Okay. So, most of the time, it doesn't necessarily look like that, though. It could just look like, hey, you want this? And you're like, I don't know. Like, am I cool if I don't do it? But believe me, you are cool and you are a good influence if you choose the other way. I think we need to practice this, though.
I agree. Can I get one volunteer? So right here, choose your prop. Okay, so what we're gonna practice here. Come right over here. What's your name? Well, what we're gonna practice right here is you. I'm gonna present you with. Um, we're acting here. You act with me. We're gonna be in a situation. Now you can't say no or I can't. You're trying to get out of the situation without saying no or I can't, and you're gonna try to use your prop to get out of it. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna set the scene. We're gonna pretend like we're at the area's high school sporting event. Okay, we're at the high school sporting event. We're watching our friends play in the football game. Okay, ready? Everyone, say scene. 3, 2, 1. Scene. Hey, Joel. So this football game isn't going very well. We're losing by a ton, so it's not very fun to watch. Do you think if we drink some of this alcohol, we'll have a whole lot more fun watching this game? Will you drink this with me?
Sorry, I don't want.
That's kind of a no.
That's
Did we
kind of a
say when
no.
they say no? Eh?
Yeah, so you can't say no. I said no and I can't. But anything where it's like just no, no, you're trying to get out of it in a different way. So
And they know we obnoxiously have to be like,
yes. So
yeah.
if she was to say I can't, she gets multiple tries. You would all have to go eh, to say no, try again. Ready? Everyone do it. Okay, so we're gonna keep going. Okay, so Joe, like this is not fun. Will you drink this with me and so we have more fun watching the game?
We'll have more.
I mean, I've never really tried it. I just took this out of my parents' alcohol cabinet, but anything's got to be more fun than this game.
Probably should.
Not quite. What else? Keep thinking. How can you use this? Do you want to show up to practice with whatever this is in your system? I guess I get that. That's fine. Give a round of applause.
Good job. It's hard. It's really hard. Do we have time for one more? One more? Is that okay? Go. All you, Danielle. Ready to go?
Who has not participated yet? Come. Well, I should have
So,
prepped you better. That's my
but,
fault.
yeah,
Okay, choose your
really
prop.
won't be able to balance.
Okay, so what's your name?
Liana.
Yeah, we're gonna set the scene. Okay. Do you play any sports?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm on your soccer team, believe it or not, and we're just after practice. Okay, ready, everybody? Scene. Hey, Liana. I know we're done with practice, but I don't really want to go home and start doing my homework, and I bet you don't either. So I took this for my brother. Do you want to smoke this with me?
You know what? How about we still play? Then since we're bored, let's keep playing. Why not?
You just work really hard. I'm really tired. I'm hoping this thing can help me relax.
Man, let's just chill. Come on. Let's play some game.
I mean, what if we just took a breather, took a minute, smoked whatever this is, and then we played?
Boy, what's wrong with you?
You got soccer.
You mean like
You got-
you don't want to? I mean, we already played.
You think coach would approve of this?
Coach doesn't have to know. Oh, well, if you're gonna tell him, then I'm talking to the wrong person. Give a round of applause.
Good job, guys. That was great. So the reality, we don't have time for another one. I'm sorry. Maybe you could stay after. I'll do another one. So the reality is that you can say no. You can say no. You can say nuh-uh. No one's gonna be jumping out of the bushes like, you said no. No. Like you can say no. You can say that's not good for me. You can blame it on your parents and say no, they would kill me. No. Or you could just be that positive influence in their life. I promise you, if you say no to one of those negative choices like this, you're going to be such a good influence on that person. They are not going to act like it in the moment because they're going to feel silly, most likely. And but you really are going to make that impact. Also, hopefully you work on building trust with your parents because, I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but from the speaker parents that we know, they're like, man, like when I feel like I can trust my kid, I feel like I can have a longer, for lack of a better word, like longer leash on them. Like she feels like she can give them more freedom. But the minute that that trust is broken, she feels like, okay, well now I have to kind of keep him a little bit closer. So hopefully you can work on building that trust with your parents so you do actually have in the end more freedom. Thank you so much for having us, you guys. We really loved being here.
Thank you, guys.
And we're gonna pass out tape measures. I'll pass them out at the door just so it's like a little bit easier. Maybe Daniel will go to that door. I'll go to this door. The tape measure has all of these resources on them, which here they are. So the resources for pornography, like if you feel like you want support around that or a friend does, it is joinfortify.com and fightthenewdrug.org. Crisis line is 988 or 741-741. That will be a line that you can call or text anytime if you're feeling like I need to talk to someone. And then that one we didn't really talk about. So yeah, so you can go to those. And oh, it's on the scan code on the back. Thank you so much for having us, you guys.
I like lamb.
All right, guys, can you please have a second for like 2 minutes, 2 more minutes, and we're gonna leave. Can we please give them a round of another round of applause, boys, Habibi, Daniel, can you ask him to come inside? Ask him to come inside. Can you hold off? Do not pass anything out. So first of all, I want to thank both of you for coming out here and sharing your experiences with us. This is fantastic words. I was actually inside and listening about and the illustrations. So first of all, I want to say, did you guys find this useful? Yeah? You feel like you're stronger? Can you now say no? Can I hear a no? No. If a bully comes to you and you say no, I want to hear a louder no. Can you say no? What's habibi? This is why we have in the church, part of the reasons why we have so many fasts in the church. You know why? It teaches us to say No. You know that one time you really, really want to eat that chocolate? And you say, if you really, really, really want to eat that chicken nuggets, and you say, this is why the life of the church, it exercises. You know what? The no is a muscle. You know that there's a no muscle? It's a muscle. The more I exercise my biceps, the bigger it gets. Of course, I have a huge one, so it's hidden under the black. You cannot see it. But the more you exercise this muscle, the bigger it gets. The more I exercise the muscle, the bigger it gets. So the life of the Orthodox Church teaches us to say no. You know, you complain, oh, Abouna, so many of us. The church is teaching us to say no. Because today, when you say no to this chocolate, no to this chicken nugget, after tomorrow you will say no to that invite to that bad place, or no to trying this thing, or no trying that thing. Right? The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. So this is why, guys, fasting is very important in the life. Number two, the church is blessed with a fantastic sacrament called the sacrament of confession, repentance, and confession. We are here for you. You are never alone. Can you repeat this? Can you say, I am never alone? Can you say that again? You are never alone. We are here for you anytime you want to talk about something, you want to share something. You feel like, you know what, you slipped into something, you're worried about something, you're confused about something. Trust me, there's nothing me and Abouna have not heard. You see all the gray hair? I'm just kidding. No, there's not, and there's nothing, you guys, the blessed thing about the priesthood, the church, we have the hearts of Christ. That means there is nothing you can do to make us love you any less. There is nothing you can do that make us love you any less. We love you so much, no matter what you do. Just don't kill anyone, please, for me. Don't kill anyone. Right? But we love you guys so very much. If there's anything that you are worried about, concerned about, you want to share with us, we are here for you. Come and share and let's talk about it. Right? Any kind of thoughts, any kind of temptations, any kind of struggles, share it with us and know that you are loved very much. Again, as we talked about today in the sermon, do not be alone. Right? Because when you're alone, you get frustrated, you start to you get depressed, you get scared. Right? There's nothing to be scared of. We are here for you. The church is here for you. Your servants are here for you. The fathers are here for you. This whole place is here for you. So you are here. We are here to help one another. And you help me, and I help you. Right? We help one another. That's what makes the church beautiful and strong. Thank you so much again for this wonderful demonstrations. Again, we are here again for confessions. Anytime you want to talk about anything, we are here for you. Learn to say no. Be careful of your friends. Do not think you're too strong. You are strong. But do not put yourself in places where you could be vulnerable. You know what vulnerable means? You know, places of temptation. Stay away as much as possible. Be very picky on your friends. Be picky. Not anyone can be your friend. Be very picky. Love everyone. Love everyone. That's a Christ commandment. But be very careful who you keep close to your heart. Make sense? Yeah? Okay, thank you again for your time. And Abouna, also حابة تقول أي حاجة؟